Hi everyone, Chelsea here from Resource Depot. I'm going to read a book with you today. It's about a city that had no plants and a little boy's effort to spread those plants around. And afterwards, I'm going to talk a little bit how you can grow your own things, whether you have a yard or not. We'll get started. The Curious Garden by Peter Brown. There once was a city without gardens or trees, or greenery of any kind. Most people spent their time indoors. As you can imagine, it was a very dreary place. However, there was one boy who loved being outside, even on drizzly days while everyone else stayed inside. You could always find Liam happily splashing through his neighborhood. It was on one such morning that Liam made several surprising discoveries. He was wandering around the old railway, as he did from time to time, when he stumbled upon a dark stairwell leading up to the tracks. The railway had stopped working ages ago, and since Liam had always wanted to explore the tracks, there was only one thing for the curious boy to do. Liam ran up the stairs, pushed open the door, and stepped out on the railway. The first thing he saw was a lonely patch of color. Wildflowers and plants were the last thing he had expected to find up there. But when he took a closer look, it became clear that the plants were dying. They needed a gardener. Liam may not have been a gardener, but he knew that he could help. So he returned to the railway the very next day and got to work. The flowers nearly drowned, and he had a few pruning problems, but the plants patiently waited while Liam found better ways of gardening. As the weeks rolled by, Liam began to feel like a real gardener, and the plants began to feel like a real garden. Most gardens stay in one place, but this was no ordinary garden. With miles of open railway ahead of it, the garden was growing restless. It wanted to explore. The tough little weeds and mosses were the first to move. They popped up farther and farther down the tracks and were closely followed by the more delicate plants. Over the next few months, Liam and the curious garden explored every corner of the railway. Very pretty. After spending his spring and summer and autumn with the garden, Liam's time on the railway was finally interrupted by winter. Heavy blankets of snow fell on the city that season, and for the first time since he became a gardener, Liam could not visit the plants. Rather than waste his winter worrying about the garden, Liam spent it preparing for spring. After 3 cold months, the snow finally began to melt, and Liam rolled his new gardening gear over to the railway. Winter had taken a toll on the garden. But thanks to Liam's planning, his handy new tools, and a little help from the sun, the plants soon awoke from their winter sleep. The garden had always wanted to explore the rest of the city, and the spring was finally ready to make it. And that spring, it was finally ready to make its move. Once again, the tough little weeds and mosses set out first. They popped up further and further from the railway, and were closely followed by the more delicate plants. The garden was especially curious about old forgotten things. A few plants popped up where they didn't belong. Others mysteriously popped up all at once. But the most surprising thing that popped up were the new gardeners. Looks like everybody's starting to garden. Isn't that lovely? Everybody's outside. Many years later, the entire city had blossomed. But of all the new gardens, Liam's favorite was where it all began. And look, the city has rooftop gardens and windmills, and it's so much more green than it was before. And that's the end. I liked this book because it was about spreading Mother Nature and growing things. I like to grow things. I don't always have lots of time. My garden behind me is a little neglected, just starting to get back to it. And there's a bunch of plants that have gone to seed. So one thing that you can do, if you already have plants, you can collect seeds from them, or you can purchase some seeds. And then I'll also post some links to some ways that you can use some fruits and vegetables, the parts of fruits and vegetables that you're not going to eat, to grow your own stuff as well. And it's really easy to collect seeds if you can't go out and purchase them. All you have to do is collect the tops where flowers or fruit might have grown, and that's how the plants distribute their seeds. So if you collect it and then plant it, hopefully plants will grow. So I'll show you guys a few tips, and I'll send you some links for some extra fun, and thanks for reading with us today.